Hello, welcome to Discussing Fitchburg Now. I'm your host, Sam Squalia. Our show here is on hobbies. It's a hobby hour. We're doing a show on yarn, crocheting, weaving, all that good stuff. And so on our first segment here, we have Kris Bingham from A Few of You Farm.
A Few of You Farm.
A Few of You.
E-W-E.
You.
A Few of You.
Yeah, so you raise the sheep, you shear the sheep.
We do.
And you make the yarn.
You
call it yarn?
Yes, I do. I call it yarn.
Wool yarn.
It's wool yarn from a sheep. We do have a mix of horn Dorsets, and they can be used both as a shown as a meat breed, but also fiber.
Meat breed, like you can raise it for goat steaks.
It can go for that purpose.
Or sheep steaks. Goat? Sheep steak.
Lamb. Nice lamb kebabs. So.
Okay.
But I love to spin. So I also have a couple of sheep that are wool breed specific. And we name our sheep, we let the kids have a theme of the year. And this year the theme is cleaning products. So our nice big horn Dorset ram, his name is Windex, and he's doing really good.
Windex, that was the first one that came to my head.
Yep, and his sisters are Downy and Dove. We also have something like Goo Gone, some kind of spot remover, and the last two rams that were born, they're called Arm and Hammer. So
you have like 8 sheep.
We have, well, right now I think we have.
Wait, is sheep
17.
is a woman? Sheep is a female. A ram is a
ram is a male. Sheep, the whole flock of them.
They're all
sheep.
EWE
is a female. A ram.
They're all everyone's a sheep, but not everyone can be a ram.
Not everyone can be a ram. That's true. So,
so which is the difference here?
Okay, so over here I did bring. This is from my Romney girl. Her name is Jack, as in Monterey Jack, because she was from the year of the cheese. So she's a couple years old. She's the year of the cheese, but we call her Jack. And this is a Romney fleece. Her fleece actually grows so fast, I'm bugging my son to please shear her again before the winter.
So you have to shear her twice a year?
Yeah. Most sheep, you just shear them once a year.
Really?
But the Romney, her wool is growing so fast, I'll shear her again now, and she'll be all set until spring. So what I do...
Is that from Jack?
This is from Jack, yeah. So I take the raw wool and I do wash it. I'll be honest with you, I only wash a couple of the fleeces, and then I send the rest out for processing, because washing wool, it's like dirty, and it takes a lot of work, and that's not the fun part. I want to do the fun part.
Do you use one of those
like a
corrugated board things? What do you call that? Washboard?
Well,
Washboard.
Something like that. I actually have I have a series of 3 buckets, and I fill them with hot water. Believe it or not, use hot water. You can use just Dawn dishwashing detergent, and I put it into like lingerie bags, drop it right into the bucket, let it soak, don't agitate it. If you have heat, as in the hot water, you have soap, and you agitate, you're gonna felt it. Don't agitate it, just let it sit. And all of that lanolin, the heavy grease, the dirt will just fall out.
Really?
Move it to the next
how long?
bucket, maybe 15 minutes or so.
Okay, so this sounds easy already.
It's not bad.
Sounds easy.
It's called to scour the wool, but you don't scour, you just leave it. So it's easy. Then you move it to the next bucket. So it's the same temperature. You don't want to shock the wool with a different temperature, because then it will felt. So you keep it relatively the same temperature and move it to the next bucket and down the line. Then just so
it's just a series of dirty water, less dirty water, less dirty water.
That's right.
Clean.
That's right. So then I wring it out one way or another, and
being careful not to felt it.
I actually, you can twist it pretty good, pretty tight, and then I hang it over some drying racks. It actually looks like a sheep exploded sometimes in.
Do we have a picture of that?
Actually, we do have a picture of that.
Hey, Mike, can you pull up our drying rack sheep wool?
That's right.
Picture.
This is the fleece from Cinnamon. She was
That's a
from
good
the
name.
year of the spice, right?
That's a good name.
This is one of the horned Dorsets.
What's
The
his name?
Rams, that's Mr. Pibb. He was the year of the soft drinks. This is Cinnamon with one of her babies. This, I call this is the lamb cam. When we are
like the giraffe, like the baby giraffe cam?
Yeah. Kind of the lazy man's way. When you go through lambing season, you do want to keep an eye on the sheep.
To make sure what?
Well, if they're having any lambs and so forth, I just
like this cute
kick
little
my
guy.
husband and he runs out and goes checks them.
How old is this lamb?
That one was that's Downy. She was just a couple weeks old at that point. Downy had some little issues, so she actually came and was a bottle baby for a while. So
Cool.
she came into the house. Then I was just setting
Loom.
up one of my
Yep.
loom.
There's a rack with a bunch of raw wool on it. You see that one, Mike? Oh, here.
And they're spinning.
Here's your spinning wheel.
There's
Going for a
Downy.
ride in the car.
Yeah, going for a ride. Yep.
No, maybe not.
Maybe not in the
Okay.
Anyway, it's got fleece everywhere. And I sometimes put a fan to help the air circulate a little bit more so it will dry. Wool is absolutely fabulous. It will still absorb water and feel dry. So you have to really make sure that it's dry all the way.
Yeah, they use it for making baby diaper covers for cloth diapers.
Oh,
Because it wicks.
Yep,
Yeah.
it does. It takes the moisture away from your skin. So that
So this is, so you've taken from here and you've spun it. So you cleaned it.
I cleaned
and then you
it,
spin
and then you do have to do something to get the fibers in line so that you can spin
What do you got to do?
So in this case,
Is that what this thing is?
I actually,
This brush thing?
yep, can
Looks like a
card.
dog.
Yeah, just combs,
Brush.
just like dog combs. But I could comb the fiber, so you could card it, actually. These are cards, hand cards. Or I could take and, here's some fiber that I dyed.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can dye at any point in the process. You could dye it when it's in the lock, like raw wool. You've got it wet. For heaven's sake, just go throw it in the dye
put
pot.
some dye, okay, yeah.
Go throw it in the dye
Or
pot.
you can weave it into something like this and then dye it.
Yes.
And that's how you make it, is that how you make it in the different like colors?
Yeah, I was talking about that with one of the other girls the other day. What I'm doing is just lining up the fibers so that they'll
Lining
be
up the fibers.
ready to spin. One of the things that I like to do is described in a book. It's called, you take a big, long, like you set chairs on different sides of the room, and then you go and you make big loops like this with your yarn, okay?
Yeah.
Make a few ties so when you pick it up, it doesn't get all tangled.
Yep.
Then go over to my dye pot. I have a big roasting pan. Once you use it for dyeing, it never comes back in the kitchen. It's just for dyeing. And what I do is I hang up on a hanger, I tie up a bunch of the fiber and have just a little couple feet hang down into the dye pot. And actually, of all this purple, this actually shows it best. This dark purple is the color, the original color of the dye. Let it sit for like 20 minutes or so at a hot water, okay, and it's at a hot temperature, and it starts to take the deepest color of the dye. Then I go and I drop down the next couple of feet, hang the rest up high, just have that down, and then that color is like
So this is the same dye,
exactly,
but it's just different
it's just
temperatures.
like it's different grades. This one was in the longest.
Yeah, okay.
It absorbed the darkest
Cool.
color, and then it went to a blue, and then it went to a light blue. So I can actually make a self-striping yarn, dyeing it that way. It's just fun, something fun
clever.
to do. Yep. So I comb it or card it one way or another, get the fibers in line so that I can spin it.
And this is your spinning wheel.
This is my spinning wheel. This is a double treadle.
Double treadle. What is it, 2 feet?
Yep. And I
And you just
what I do is I kind of do the same thing. I'm kind of stuck in a rut. The way I like to spin, the only reason I do all of this is to have fun and relax.
Right. It does look relaxing.
It's awesome. I love to do this.
When you got TV on in the background, you listen to music, you can just do
you
this
can
thing.
talk with other people,
Yeah.
you can hold a conversation, you can stop periodically and gawk at your beautiful yarn. It's all good.
So that's finished yarn?
No, actually what I do is I spin 2 spools,
Okay.
and when I do that, I have the wheel go to the right.
Uh-huh.
Then I'll take the 2 spools, put another one on, and I'm going to have the wheel go to the left. What I'm doing is I'm making a 2-ply yarn.
2-ply.
Because honestly,
So it's thicker.
this right here,
Is that what this is? Is this 2-ply?
that's a 2-ply yarn. Yep. This is pretty thin, and it's weak, and it also, if I had it, it's got a lot of energy, even though it doesn't look like it has a lot of energy right now. If I were to knit with this, I have to do something to release that energy. Otherwise, my knit item will actually go on a slant like this. It's really crooked, so I don't want to do that. I like to do a 2-ply yarn, and when you do the 2 together in the opposite direction, it actually balances the twist.
Oh, I see. 2-ply.
And it relaxes.
You weave, you spin 2 rolls and then weave them together.
Yes.
Ah.
I'm spinning them
or
together.
Or spin them together.
Yep.
Ah, I get it.
So
Like
that's
a
what
rope.
I do.
Like you're making
Well, honestly, when I first started, my first yarns were like a rope. But after a while, you look down and you go,
You start
"Wow!"
to feel the
Right.
the thinness.
Just get
Yep.
the right thickness, the right amount of twist. You can take classes. Honestly, I just sat for hours and just was spinning. It would break, it would fall apart, and I just was like, whatever. And it was
Where
just
can you
the
take
act of-
classes?
You can look online, any kind of yarn store, some of the yarn stores, but there's the Fiber Loft in Harvard, there's places in New Hampshire. I have a whole bunch of people, whole bunch of friends that learn to spin watching YouTube videos.
Oh yeah,
You
YouTube. You can learn everything on
Right,
YouTube.
you can make a drop spindle. I did bring a drop spindle, but you could make one using a CD and a dowel and a cup hook at the top. Look it up on YouTube.
MacGyver. You can
pick
MacGyver
up
it.
wool anywhere. You can find that.
Raw wool.
Raw wool if you
Or
want.
cleaned wool.
The
Is this
very
raw wool? Is
first-
this raw wool?
This is cleaned.
Cleaned wool.
The first time when I started spinning, I used raw in the grease. The good thing about that is that it's so sticky that it stays together. But it's not like a soft, usable yarn, but at least it got you over the hump so that you learned how to spin. Then I said, well, this is crazy. It's all dirty. I started washing it. But you can go online and you can buy anything from this phase to different
And what's
colors.
the difference between this and that? How come this looks so much different?
From this to
This
this,
has all these curly, yeah.
this is the exact same thing. Okay, all I did was
one
I
just
take this
Oh, and just pull it apart.
and just fluff it up.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is just fluffed.
Yep, just fluffed. So that's how I prepare the fiber. I wash it.
And so the blue one is
I spin
dyed.
it.
This is just dyed blue.
I did purchase that because that's a nice soft merino wool.
Kind of smells like a sheep.
And this one is alpaca. Actually, I have a few yarns here. One of
Is this
mine.
and this is natural.
That one's natural. Yes, that's the color of the sheep.
Yeah, it's got little pieces of white in there.
It probably has little pieces of hay also.
Oh yeah. Cool.
As you spin it, it kind of just falls out. Once you wash it, you get rid of the grease, then it will fall out, those pieces. But that's alpaca. It's so nice and soft.
Ooh,
And
do,
then
do you buy the alpaca wool? Or?
I do. I have to, Greg, I do need an alpaca, you know.
You should get an alpaca.
I know, but And then this past summer I was playing around, I found some cotton, so I was spinning some cotton.
Oh, cool!
So to justify my addiction
To spinning.
spinning and yarn.
Some people, when they say they're going to spinning class, they mean a different thing.
Well,
Right.
and one of the times some of my friends, I told them I couldn't go to this gathering because I was dying, and they were happy for me. So,
Sorry, I'm dying tonight.
right, and they're like, oh, that's great, good for you.
It's all about the emphasis.
Right, we know what we're talking about, it's a different language. So,
You
Anyway.
know what you're talking about.
so that's what I do.
And so
is I
you
make a,
so you make it now. You don't sell your yarn. You use it to knit and crochet. Knit.
usually
both?
knitting, some weaving. I can
Oh, yeah, some
crochet,
weaving
but
on the
I'm not
loom.
as good as some of the other
As the knit.
girls coming up.
Yeah.
They're pretty talented.
So all this stuff that you have is knit.
Yep, this is knit.
This fancy hat.
I did not spin this yarn, but one of the things we were talking about was just doing a knit along, like various projects. Each week you got the instructions to do the next set, but this was kind of a fun project that kept my interest. And then this is some knitting that I've done. Again, I didn't
Ooh, with some
spin this,
fancy beads.
but I got some beads in. So this was fun to do.
Yeah.
I might make a few more of those for Christmas.
Now, do you ever sell your items, or do you plan on ever selling your yarn, anything like that?
If people wanted to learn to spin, I have no problem putting together some bags
like
of
it.
some wool.
Yeah.
And even if Heidi and I met, Heidi was the one that contacted me and asked me about coming. She saw me spinning up at Hollis Hills Farm.
Oh, yeah.
And I love to go up there, who wouldn't, and sit and enjoy a great breakfast and
The
the beautiful
view.
scenery, exactly. But I could put some of the bags of some of the roving or raw wool or washed wool or anything else.
So this is
up
just
at-
this is your hobby. This is
is my
what you do
hobby.
to relax.
That's
Yeah.
what I do to relax. Yep.
Yeah.
We do have llamas as well, just as a gee whiz.
Oh yeah? Can you make yarn from llama?
I send
Oh, is
it
that
out
llama?
to be, yep, I send this out to be processed.
That looks like rope.
Because llama actually have two coats, a hair coat on the outside and then a downy soft coat underneath. So it's expensive to get it de-haired, which I have done it, and it's fabulous. I love to spin with it. But you could do this, and then what I do, now you'll see the other woman weaving later, and weaving is pretty fun, but this one is a fast weave. But one year I made all of my kids and my husband llama not blankets, rugs.
Ponchos? Oh, rugs. Yeah.
So when you get
Yeah,
out of
it
bed in the
looks
morning,
nice.
you
So
can just
nice
put
and
your
warm.
feet right onto your llama
Ooh.
rug.
Fantastic.
So yeah,
Well,
just fun stuff.
thank you, Kris, for coming
Awesome.
on and teaching us about spinning yarn.
Making yarn.
Spinning us a tale. All right, so we are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk it more in depth about crocheting and knitting this yarn.
Assist you by getting your new show up and running with professional industry standard equipment, TV studio time, and private editing suites. All you need are friends to help out, and before you know it, you will be on the air. So if you have a great idea for a TV show and want to share it with the world, stop by 175 Kimball Street, Fitchburg for a free tour of our facility. You can also contact us at 978-343-0834 or email us at info@fatv.org. Fitchburg Access Television, working together for a stronger community. Hello and welcome to FATV, Fitchburg Access Television. Each week we take pride in providing some of the best public access television programs in New England. From FATV live sporting events, city meetings, and school functions, to weekly shows such as Barbara and You, Inside and Discussing Fitchburg, Sports Weekly, Weekly Wellness, and Our City. Our dedicated staff of industry professionals and hard-working volunteers is here each week working behind the scenes, making it all happen. Besides on air, our programming is also shown live online, where you can see our shows in beautiful high definition. You can also search through our archive of past shows and watch anytime at your leisure. But did you know you can also be part of the action? Become a member of FATV, and you gain access to all the equipment, studio space, and classes that FATV has to offer. You can create your own show, volunteer for exciting live events in our studio, or all around the city in our high-quality mobile broadcast truck. The possibilities are endless. For a small fee, you can become an individual member. Or for a little more, you and a group of friends can become part of a rising trend in the future of television. From sports shows to news shows, civic events, and talk shows, you can be in the driver's seat by directing and even starring in your own production. Also, students are free. FATV staff can assist you by getting your new show up and running with professional industry standard equipment, TV studio time, and private editing suites. All you need are friends to help out, and before you know it, you will be on the air. So if you have a great idea for a TV show and want to share it with the world, stop by 175 Kimball Street, Fitchburg for a free tour of our facility. You can also contact us at 978-343-0834 or email us at info@fatv.org. Fitchburg Access Television, working together for a stronger community.
Welcome back to Discussing Fitchburg Now. We're having our hobby show today. We're talking about crocheting and knitting, right? We have our second segment on here with our crochet and knitters, right? Heidi, Aerevyn, Barbara.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, so we learned all about how wool is made and spun, right? Now we're going to learn about what you guys do with it. All right, so you guys, everyone here does crochet and knit as a hobby.
Yes.
Right? You don't sell anything yet.
No.
Okay. All right. So what are we making? What do we got here?
Do you want to start with the Plarn?
Sure.
Yeah, Barbara makes. So you make Plarn, which is
Yes.
plastic yarn.
Yes, plastic yarn. Correct. It's a great two-step. Number one, you are helping out some of the less fortunate folks who are temporary homeless or just having a tough time.
Yeah, you make mats for the homeless.
Yes. It's you're not directly on the ground. You're warmer. You can
It doesn't soak water in.
exactly, and you can rinse it off to wash them.
And you're using plastic bags, which otherwise might be just be going in the landfill.
Exactly. It's great environmental. I use about probably 95% of the bag. There's very little waste whatsoever. And it takes.
And you put a little carrying handle.
Yeah.
Oh, that is clever.
It takes about 700 bags to do one of these.
700 bags?
Yeah. And basically, it's just a simple cross stitch, single crochet stitch.
Single crochet.
I make
that
it.
sounds like the easy one.
Yeah. I keep it easy. I'm not advanced like these ladies. I saw this online. I just thought it was a great idea, so I did it.
Yeah.
I'm making them about 6 feet wide. They're about
6 feet long.
Yeah, and about a couple feet wide. And with the different types of bags, you do have a little different textures. They kind of pull a little bit, but it doesn't have to be like the lady who was just spinning. It doesn't have to be
It's not very heavy.
perfect. It has to be useful.
Looks like a series of knots.
Yep. It's just a single crochet.
Yeah, and I could see a bunch of market basket. Oh, what are these?
Oh, we got market basket. We got you name it, it's in there. There's some Toys
Ooh, the
R Us.
random blue one.
There's
That must be a Walmart. Huh?
there's Walmart. There's you name it. You name it.
Smells like plastic. It smells like sheep.
Yeah, no.
These
No
are
Llama one.
nice.
Thank you.
So how many of these have you made?
So far, I have made 16. I've made 16 so far.
And how long does it take to make one of these with 700 bags?
Well, if everybody leaves me alone and I can concentrate, which is not frequent, I can get one done probably about 4 or 5 days.
Oh, yeah.
Could you just sit?
But you got to cut all the little pieces into like
Yes.
crochetable things, right?
Yes, and basically it's really simple. I brought a bag in to show you. I brought several bags. I collect them. Matter of fact, I'm doing 3 pickups tomorrow. You just take them, you flatten them out, and you fold them in 4s. I actually have I quilt. I have an old cutting wheel that I use because I can just do more bags at
like
a time.
a pizza cutter.
A rotary, exactly.
Rotary cutter.
And all you do is you just take off this bottom piece, and then you take it off right here under the handle. That's your only waste.
Yep.
That's it. And then you just put it in half, and you put in half again, roughly. And then you have these 4 strips per bag. And you keep them round.
It's pretty easy.
It is. It just takes time. And I have a friend who he loves putting these together. I can't keep them busy enough.
Aha.
And you just put them together.
Well,
you
that's
just
pretty
take,
relaxing. Just fold
It
bag,
is.
cut,
It is.
fold bag.
And you just take 2 and you just kind of put one into the other.
Oh, so then you have a longer piece?
Exactly. And you just kind of pull it together. And you just keep going and going and going. And eventually,
and you end up with a big
you
ball.
end up with this.
A Plarn ball.
A Plarn ball, correct. And this is what I have going right now. It's a huge crochet hook. It's a size Q.
Size Q.
Size Q, because you use it as wide as it is. See this one I got going? And you use it as wide as it is, and, whoop, excuse me. And you just kind of just simple single crochet. And you just keep going and going and going, and it makes a mat.
A useful item.
Yeah.
And so you distribute these to churches?
Yes, I actually, there's a lady I work with. Her name is Carrie Harris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been
great.
working with her. Yes, she is. She's awesome. And
She's at Crossroads?
yes, and I've been working with her, making them, and she's been helping getting them distributed to the folks who need them.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been working out good. I like doing it. Can always use help. Right now, it's just me collecting, sorting, cutting, and crocheting.
So if you're interested in learning how to Plarn and getting rid of your
Yes.
bags, you can contact Barbara Carter. She's on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes, I am. Yeah, yes. Please, I'll take anything. If you'd like to help out, great. I'm actually right now talking to a lady who's tied up with the Girl Scouts to help. You know,
That's a
to
good
help
Girl Scout project.
Yeah.
Project.
So yeah, hopefully that'll work out.
All right, great.
Yeah.
And so, and Aerevyn and Heidi, you guys do just standard with like you buy some yarn.
Yes, I buy my yarn.
Buy the yarn.
I have no sheep in my apartment.
So what do you guys make? What is your favorite thing to make?
I
know
like,
Heidi's is baby blankets.
Yes.
I like to do little projects because I like to try different things. I have the knitter's disease where I'm always looking for something different.
Oh,
So
yeah?
if I don't do small projects, then
you never finish them?
Right. There are lots of bags of things that are half done. So I like doing scarves. I like doing hats. I like doing
Like this guy?
Yes.
cute.
I like doing cables. I like doing,
What's a
I want to try
cable?
lace. A cable is where you have yarn and then you cross it over.
Oh, like a cable knit sweater.
Exactly.
Oh, it looks it's a fancy knit
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Do we have any example of that?
I don't think
That's
we have
crochet.
any
That's a
cables.
cute baby.
It is a cute.
Cool.
So that's what I do.
So you like to knit
I do.
the most?
Yes.
More than crochet?
I don't know how to crochet.
You don't know how to crochet?
I'm only a knitter.
Ah, I didn't know that. Do you know how to knit?
I am crossover apparently. So my big thing, I've been crocheting since I was 9, and I've tried several times to learn how to knit and failed and failed and failed. And this past year, working with Aerevyn, I was able to make a couple scarves. So that was pretty exciting. Nothing too
With the
complex.
and so the difference is crochet is 1 hook and
Yes,
knitting is
yeah.
2 needles.
I have a couple examples here. So we
here we
have
go.
some
A
crochet
giant-
hooks. Those are
knitting
yes,
needles.
Yes. This is a fancy crochet hook that there's a special technique called Tunisian crochet that you would load them on and then take them off, so you could make something this wide. Then there's the regular crochet hooks like you had. There's big ones, there's small ones, there's even little teeny ones smaller than this. And then some of the other things that you would use. This is one that looks like a little jackknife.
Ooh, like an Allen wrench.
In case you're in an emergency situation, you can whip out and
travel-
crochet.
travel crochet
There you
hook.
go, there you go, a whole set. This one is for longer projects that kind of, you usually see this kind of thing in a knitting needle, but you can crochet longer projects or double end with that. And then also there's just the regular old.
Regular
Actually, these
knitting
happen
needle?
to be old, but yeah, just regular knitting needles. So
I kind of like the big ones.
yeah, you can make
Well, you
good,
could
good
write-
scarves and
You get short projects.
there you
Short
go.
oh yeah, because
They
you're
could
using
zip right
fat.
up.
You're using fat,
exactly.
thick
Blankets.
thick, yarn.
Right.
Exactly.
Thick yarn.
Yeah. Yeah, you can also hand knit and hand crochet. So they have like arm knitting.
Yeah, where you have really, really, really big yarn, and then you you transfer it from one arm to the other to make things like
Giant blankets.
yes,
Giant blankets.
Blankets.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
So
I
here's
I have crocheted or something. I don't remember what it was. A pot holder.
Oh,
Nice.
yay!
I've done
yes,
the pot holder.
yes.
That's the
Not
beginner.
perfectly square.
Perfect.
Right. It doesn't
Or
have to
actually, it's a dishcloth.
Yes,
It's a dishcloth. Yep.
that's a good
Probably
first
knitted that.
project.
Yes, exactly.
In there.
And then there's an example of a crocheted doll.
Oh yes.
And then this has the knit on there, the little scarf and the hat. And this is actually, his name is Acorn, and part of the Warmer Winters project. They sell little acorns for $15, and then that makes 10 pair of gloves that they use.
To distribute to homeless. And
Homeless,
those
yeah,
in need.
yeah. They're doing like 4,000 pieces, things like that.
Warmer
Big.
Winters. They
Warmer
meet
Winters.
at a church in Leominster. Is
Yeah,
that right?
the,
Unitarian.
I think that might
But
be.
you can go to Warmer Winters on Facebook.
Exactly,
And they're at
yeah,
a Leominster,
yeah.
and you can join them
Yeah.
and knit and crochet, and they get together and.
Their next event is on October 20th, and they're actually having it at someone's home. And then they also have a paint night. They're raising funds for that at the Sitka Gallery.
Oh, nice.
In Fitchburg, and that's November 15th. So there's all kinds of things that you can do for charity and also for yourself, right? So you get the accomplishment and a lot of
The
folks have the free-
relaxation.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's something
Right.
to do.
Right, there
Keep
have
your
been
hands
studies
busy.
showing that knitting actually is a stress reducer, that it can calm anxiety because it just slows you down and you're just doing this physical process.
I
So
think it might be stress reducing for people just to watch too.
And almost always you'll see me with crochet needle just going about my business. I have a couple examples here.
What
of
you making
hats.
there?
So here is a hat.
That's gonna be a hat.
Exactly. So there's one technique where you do rows back and forth, and then you would fold it over and stitch it up. Of course, it'd be longer.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd have a hat
So you
there.
kind of get progressively skinnier.
Yes,
So
yeah,
that
skinny in the
it
middle.
like, I don't know,
Yeah.
arcs.
Yes, exactly. Skinny in the
bowls?
middle. Yeah, it makes a bowl, I guess. And then, or there's another way where you would start from sort of the top of the hat and go down around.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
What do you call it? What's the
So,
difference? That one is
This one is in rounds,
in rounds.
and this one is in rows.
Rows.
And it's the same stitch in both of these.
What's the stitch called?
This is a single crochet as well. Yeah. So same thing that she was doing with the Plarn.
Single crochet.
Mine's just bigger.
What's another way to crochet besides single crochet?
There's
Double crochet.
double crochet, there's treble crochet, there's clusters, there's slip stitches. But as you go along, you learn the techniques. So it's not overbearing. Sounds like a lot of stitches, but you can make something with just one stitch, and then you learn more, and then you make more things.
Right.
So it's not too crazy, and it's not very expensive either. You can, you know,
Get some yarn,
Yeah,
start
yeah.
making stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
And if it comes out wrong, you just take it apart.
take it apart. I'm always pulling my stuff apart. And then the other technique that I wanted to show with that funny needle is the
it called again?
Afghan or Tunisian stitch.
Tunisian.
Yes, and so that is like a double thickness kind of thing, and that's really good for nice warm blankets.
That's fancy.
yeah. So, kind of just a couple examples there.
Huh. Yeah.
Very nice.
Cool. So have you ever considered selling your things?
Just recently, I started looking into what it would take to sell on Etsy. I know there's a lot of products already on there.
Yep.
And maybe also there's an Amazon handmade site that I'm looking at as well. And then there's always fairs and craft festivals, things like that. There's a lot of
the
places.
farmers market.
Exactly.
I've bought a number of gifts.
Yes.
Like
yep,
I like
yeah.
the knit,
Yeah.
alpaca,
Yeah.
hand
yeah.
things.
They're so nice and warm.
With my finger, where my fingers are out,
Yeah.
and it's got a thumb hole. I
Yeah.
don't know what you call those things.
Perfect.
They're like fingerless gloves.
gloves. There you go.
Obviously.
So, and as you mentioned, I like the baby blankets, so I do that for anyone who's expecting, or like graduation time. It's nice to have a blanket with your school colors, or I've done things where it's been someone's 50th birthday, and I'll make like a 50-year kind of color. Indicating like birthdays and things in different years each year. It's very pretty.
So it's a great hobby.
Yeah.
It's relaxing,
Yeah.
and you get something when you're done.
That's right.
And I mean, you can only have so many blankets for yourself. You can only make so
Exactly.
many blankets. So you start giving them away as gifts.
Yeah.
And what a great gift to get a handmade blanket or baby gift, sweater, cable knit sweater, Aerevyn.
yeah.
I'm probably a size small.
Okay, I gotcha.
Like, make me a cable knit sweater.
But you can knit. I like funny little projects. Like you could knit like little animals.
Yeah, like a
you
baby.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like knitting for Christmas. I like just kind
Do you
of.
make a little nativity scene?
I haven't done that yet, but someone at the farmer's market did.
Yeah.
Those were really beautiful.
She's the one I buy the,
Yes,
the
yes, she's-
alpaca. Yeah.
So I've done scarves for family, or just like other little ornaments for Christmas time. It's just, I like the personal touch and being able to
And they're
give
little
them something.
projects, you can finish them quick.
Exactly.
So, do you ever go to YouTube, or do you go to books, or do you go to pattern books? How do you find new stitches or new ideas?
There's so many different places that you can go. I mean,
Because you saw yours on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Some retirees down in Texas,
Yeah.
they get together and they do it.
And you're
I
like,
was
I'm gonna do
I
that.
can do that. It's a great idea. I just thought it was a fantastic idea, so gave it a shot.
So, what's your?
well, I
Where do you go?
started knitting before the internet, and that was very challenging. That sounds like that was a long time ago. I tried to learn from a book, and that was really challenging. So YouTube is really fantastic. I mean, whether you're a new knitter or crocheter, or somebody who's, or you're trying to pick up a new stitch, it's awesome to be able to go on YouTube and and see it in 3D, so that you're like, what are they doing? So that's really wonderful. And then there's also community as well. There's a website called
together.
Ravelry. Well, that too.
Oh, yeah.
But also there's websites where people they post their projects, or they'll say, this is a new project. This is something that I designed. And then there are things like knit-alongs that Kris mentioned before, where you can do things together.
You get together in a group.
You do, either in person or at a distance, where you have, different things that you like, little projects, and then they add up to a big project. So
I know, like a year ago, we were meeting every Wednesday for a stitch,
yes,
little stitch meetup.
stitching.
Yeah. So, and then everybody gets together, have coffee, and make stuff.
Exactly.
And
And it's nice, and you chat.
It's a good community too, because everyone is willing to show you if you're having a tough time or to help you out.
Yeah.
Or, hey, this is a pattern I found, you know, and loves to show their stuff and also to help people get into the hobby.
Crowdsourcing ideas.
Yes.
Exactly.
Suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your project now? What are you guys making right now? You're making mats.
Lots of them.
Yep. What are you guys making?
I'm making bunny slippers for my mom.
Bunny slippers, like with ears?
Yes.
Awesome.
With ears and with the little.
And with the nose?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That is very nice. How long does it take you to make bunny slippers?
If I keep doing them, like because I take a break in the summer, but those are pretty quick.
Like 3, 4, like 6 hours,
Not that quick. No.
12 hours.
Like a few weeks.
Oh, that's
'Cause, you
quick,
know-
huh? Few weeks.
Yes, it is quick.
And knitting. Yeah.
In knitting, right? That's the relaxing part because it goes slow.
All right. And what are you making?
Baby blanket.
Baby blankets. Yep, that's baby blankets are nice.
Yes.
All right, great. Well, thanks guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Telling us
Thank
all about
you.
your projects, your
you very much.
techniques.
Thank
All
you.
right. So we're going to cut to a quick break, and then we're going to have Linda Williams on from Country Weaver Designs to talk about weaving and her loom.
Some people rock and some people roll. Some will make you giggle right down to your soul. She'll talk to the world and introduce them to you. And look at me now, I'm on Barbara and you. You gotta take a step inside the shoes of another. Get to know your neighbor, get to know one another. She'll talk to the world and introduce them to you. And look at me now, I'm on Barbara and you.
Hi, welcome back to Discussing Fitchburg Now. We're talking about our hobbies for this hour, and now we're talking about weaving. And so we have Linda Williams from Country Weaver Designs. Yep. And you're out of
Ashby.
Ashby. All right. Great. So on this show we've talked about making the yarn. We've talked about crocheting and knitting the yarn, and now we're talking about weaving the yarn.
Weaving the yarn.
Okay. What is the difference?
Well, weaving is a different process in that it is the interlacement of yarns that go in a longitudinal direction and then those that go across, in and out and in and out. It's a very, very simple process in theory, but when you start to put it all together, there are lots of steps in setting up the loom and in finishing the product.
It's more making a fabric.
It's making a fabric.
Uh-huh.
And it's not one continuous piece. Like with knitting, if you pull it, it will unravel. And crochet, it will unravel. Weaving will not do that.
Because it's one piece going this way, but another piece
Yeah.
going this way.
You'll get a hole in it, and it might start to fray around the hole, but it will stay intact.
So you have a loom that you use.
I have 2 looms to.
And this is what a loom looks like.
That's what a loom looks like.
This looks really complicated.
It can be. The process can be very complicated. The theory is very simple. You start with just a cone of yarn.
Okay.
And it is.
This looks like thread.
Well, it is. Some of it is fine yarn.
Fine
very
yarn.
fine yarn. Depending on the type of garment that you're interested in making.
Like this is fine yarn?
That's fairly fine. And not only fine, but it also has a texture to it. As you can see, it's a little bit nubbly, as opposed to a very smooth yarn, the red and black one.
This is a smooth,
Very smooth yarn.
thin yarn.
Very fine yarn.
Fine.
That-
Smooth, fine yarn.
Yeah, it's alpaca and silk in the warp threads, which are the ones that go up and down. And then it is a cashmere in the weft threads. That's the red one that goes back and forth through the...
So this also looks, is it diagonal or does it just look diagonal?
That is diagonal, yes. It can go on a diagonal slant when it's woven.
Do you do that purposefully? Like,
Yeah,
do you
that's-
angle it?
It's called a twill. And that's what a twill is. A twill is it goes on the diagonal. It goes over
Is it a 45-degree angle?
Yeah. It's on 4 threads. It goes over 1 and 2, and the next one will go over 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 4, and then back and forth. Right? And so you end up with, that is basically a twill as well.
This is a twill?
That
So
one
where
is
is
there.
it, how does it go at an angle?
You can see the angle coming right through there.
Yes.
All right.
So how is it doing that?
When the threads are lifted, the petals on the floor will lift certain of the threads.
Oh.
And then you pass the
So,
shuttle
it'll
through.
lift 2, then 1, or is that
Right.
that's what you mean?
Yeah.
It's
All
the
right.
number of threads that it's lifting.
The number of threads that are lifting, that
Oh.
are being lifted.
Oh.
Right. And so that's the beginning of the weaving process right there.
This is the beginning.
That's the beginning of the scarf.
Now, how
That
do
is
you
the
get
scarf.
all the little pieces all in a line?
It starts out, well, there's a picture on here somewhere of the warping board.
With those little
pegs, right,
Yep.
there it is.
This is a warping board?
That's a warping board, right? And then you go back and forth. From here to there is the length of the piece that you're going to be weaving. And then the number of times, the number of threads that are in there will determine the width. If it's very fine, you can have up to 30, 40, 60 threads per inch. If it's a very thick, heavier yarn like this one,
Oh, yeah.
this one only has 8 threads per inch.
8.
And this one has 24.
And what kind of, this one is alpaca and silk?
That's alpaca, silk, and cashmere.
And cashmere.
Cashmere.
See. And what is this one?
And that one is just acrylic.
Acrylic.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So totally different kinds of yarns, and that has obviously totally different effects.
Yeah.
Right, this one's cotton with a little bit of glitter thrown in.
Ooh. Oh yeah, this is fancy.
Yeah,
Cotton.
cotton.
Like jeans. It looks like jeans.
Yeah, just a cotton thread. I think there is some other mixed yarn with it too. And this one is alpaca and some other, I think it's alpaca.
This
and
one has a really
rayon.
fancy
It has a
pattern
to it.
And
Yeah, it has a
and this
pattern
is,
to it.
and you do this by lifting certain.
Yeah, you have to thread the threads through the loom in a certain order. Right,
Yeah.
through those little they're called heddles. And through
Heddles.
the eye in a certain pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you keep the same pattern and don't make a mistake, because if you do, you have to go back and
Let
do
me
it
check.
all
Let me just
over
check
again.
it. Let me check. Let me check. Oh no, it looks pretty
Yeah.
good. I don't see any mistakes here.
nope.
So how long does it take you to set up for this? Is a scarf, I assume.
That's a scarf.
And how long does it take you to set up
Well, it depends.
the
Again,
loom for this?
For a scarf like this, it will take me only an hour or 2. For one like that, it could take 2 to 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, I
And
bet.
then the weaving will take just about as long.
Oh, so this takes up to 4 hours to weave about? 4 hours?
For the weaving itself, and then
And the setup is 4 hours
and
too.
that setup is 2 to 3 to 4
Oh
hours.
yeah, because this is beautiful. I like this one. And what do you call this pattern? Diamond?
It would be a diamond twill pattern.
Diamond twill.
Yeah.
Because it's also at an angle.
Yeah, it probably has a specific name, but I don't remember what it is at this point. And then I can also do fabrics. With a larger loom, I can make
So you have a smaller loom for stuff like this, for scarves.
Yeah, because it's just easier to manipulate.
And then you have a large loom
A larger
for
one for wider pieces of fabric. And
for
this is
shawls and
shawls,
capes
right,
and
this is-
jackets.
Yep, mixed fabrics here.
Blankets?
I have a loom that is 60 inches wide on which I could do blankets, but it is just too big. I can't
Right.
maneuver it anymore. Having
So what size loom do you use for
this is about 40. The loom itself is 42 inches.
42 inches?
Yeah. Right. And I can do fabrics like, and then
And what fabric and what?
this is all wool. And
Wool.
This is all wool. Right. This is wool and mohair,
Ooh, mohair.
and this has combinations of wool.
What kind of animal is mohair?
Mohair is a goat.
Goat.
If it is real mohair. Sometimes it's just wool that's been made to look like mohair, but it's still
So goat is more thicker than sheep?
not necessarily. No, actually, it's probably finer.
Finer.
It's probably finer. Right. And then cotton. This shawl is
And that's cotton?
This one is just plain cotton. Right.
And so you, unlike Aerevyn and unlike everyone before, you sell things.
I do sell
You
things.
sell things. We have our fancy label here, Country Weaver Designs.
Yes.
Yeah, you sell. So where do you sell your items?
I sell on Etsy. I have a website, but that's mainly just for displaying the
so is
material.
it countryweaverdesigns.com?
Yep.
Aha.
And then there's a link there to my Etsy site.
Yep.
And I have most of my stuff for
Here's the
sale.
Etsy
Oh,
site.
there it is.
Country Weaver Designs.
For sale on Etsy. And then I do quite a few craft shows in the fall. Not in the springtime or summer because nobody likes wool too much in the summer, and a lot of my stuff is wool.
That makes sense.
So we do, let's see, we did the Harvard Fair at Fruitlands Museum, and I will be in Worcester at the Worcester Center for Crafts, which is a very nice show.
Nice.
Right.
So you set up all your stuff on racks and
Yeah,
whatnot?
set it all up, and I have things there for sale. And I'll also have a few things this Saturday at the Pumpkin Festival in Ashby.
Oh, nice.
Yes. All right, just...
On the 30th.
On the 30th, all right,
Yeah.
on Ashby Common.
Cool.
So people who are
And-
interested in pumpkins can come and see that.
Do you do custom orders?
I do
Like,
custom orders.
how often do you get custom order requests?
Oh, well, it depends. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
What's an example of a custom order that you've
Well,
done?
somebody would like a jacket, but they would say, well, can you do that in maybe black and gray? Which would be quite interesting to me, I think, if that were black and gray.
Yep.
And well, what size would you like? And I go by measurements, not by small, medium, large, because that
Yep.
means really nothing.
Right.
So basically measurements of how wide do you want it across and how long do you want it. And those are mainly the 2 main measurements that I work with. The styles that I use are very unstructured so that they fit a lot of people.
Right. There are a lot of one size fits all.
Sort of, yeah, like the cape, obviously one size would fit just about everybody.
Yep.
Right, unless somebody is really tiny or very big, but that fits just about everybody. And a style like this would fit just about everyone too.
Yep.
Jackets like that fit a lot of different people. It's amazing how many people can fit in the same thing. They think they're small. Well, maybe this is more medium. Or
But
they think they're
maybe
large.
they're small, but they like it loose.
Yeah, exactly. And well, I'm a large. Well, that might fit you too. So it's more trying it on or knowing your own measurements. I think knowing your own measurements is important.
So what are your favorite things to make?
Oh, scarves are fun, but I do like to make work fabric, and then see how many different ways you can.
So you'll make a piece of fabric 42 inches wide,
Well, not that wide. Usually it's about 30 inches wide.
30 inches, and then you'll cut it and pattern it into
Yeah.
clothing or...
Yeah. For example, this is a technique that is sort of based on the Japanese saori method.
Saori.
It's Saori, where it's unplanned. You just take a bunch of threads and thread the loom, and then you just take a bunch of threads and weave with it at random. And so you come out with not any one particular pattern and mixed colors.
It's like the jazz of fabric.
Yeah, yes, it would be like the jazz.
So here's pictures of your Etsy shop here of some of the items that you make. Looks like a lot of jacket.
Quite a few jackets. That's
Is that your favorite thing?
I like to make the jackets and the cap sleeves.
Cap sleeve.
Cap sleeved tops.
Nice for over a dress. when
Yeah,
it's,
they're easy, and they're fun because you can do a lot of different.
Yeah, they look like Japanese kimonos.
Kimonos, yeah. That's a very popular style. That's what these are based on, kimono styles. But the scarves are fun too because they can be much quicker and easier than trying to do the whole jacket at one time.
So do you sell often on Etsy, or do you sell more often in person? Do people like to touch the things and then they buy? Or
More often people like to touch the fabric, and that's one of the things at craft fairs because people always have to come,
and they try it on.
And that's fine because that's what it's there for you. It's called the weaver's handshake because weavers will come up, oh, gee, can I see that?
The weaver's handshake.
Weaver's handshake, yep. They see another weaver wearing something hand woven, you come up and touch it.
So are these best for gifts? Is that a target market?
Scarves would be, a lot of scarves would be for gifts, but a lot of jackets and tops are for a person buying it for herself.
Yeah.
And sometimes himself. I do have one or two men's vests, but men don't seem too
a
concerned.
vest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's somewhere on there's a men's
Go with a
vest.
suit. What do you call that thing? The vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a suit.
Yeah, these are a little more more folksy. I have one that's basically those colors.
Ah, yeah.
All right, but it's the kind of thing that you might wear over maybe a flannel shirt or something like that.
So how do you get into weaving? Like if someone's watching this and they're like, oh, that looks interesting. How can I get my hands on a loom to try?
Probably first of all, check with some of the weavers' guilds.
There's a weavers' guild.
There's lots of weavers' guilds in the area. I belong to the one in New Hampshire Weavers Guild. And a lot of the yarn stores will give weaving lessons. I think somebody mentioned the one in Harvard. Harrisville, New Hampshire has weaving lessons. You probably would have to travel a bit because it takes a lot of space to hold all the looms for,
Everybody's getting together in a giant room to weave.
Yeah.
It's not like crocheting with some friends right next to each
you
other.
can't quite do it that way.
Like, hey, how's your loom?
Yeah. And it's noisy because everyone's making noise with the treadles and the beater bar and so on.
That'd be cool to see, though.
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Yeah.
All right, it's fun. I started when I was about 12 years old. My grandmother taught me. It's a kind of a tradition.
So you've been doing it for your whole life?
Yep, for a long time. She was born in 1886, I believe, and then she taught me 19th, 20th, 21st century for 3 centuries of tradition.
So it's a long
weaving.
art, the weaving.
Yes,
All
it is.
Yeah. So for more information, you can go to countryweaverdesigns.com.
That's correct.
To see Linda's work. And you can also find her on Etsy under, what is it, Country Weaver Designs?
On
There it
Etsy.
is, Country Weaver Designs, right on Etsy.
Yes.
And then you can see all her items, and you can even message her and ask her questions. And you have a Facebook page as well?
I have a Facebook page.
Country Weaver Designs? Perfect. All right. Great. Anything else you want to add? We have like 20 seconds left.
Not really. If anyone's interested in, weaving or in scarves or jackets or whatever, contact me. Or if anyone's interested in learning how to weave, check Weavers Guilds or check weaving stores.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Linda, for coming on. This has been our Hobby Hour show on Discussing Fitchburg Now. Again, you can go to Country Weaver Designs on the internet and on Etsy to find out more information. So thanks so much for watching.